This is Bumper to Bumper Radio, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. Bumper to Bumper, helping you and your car feel better. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you are recovering from all the Christmas food that you ate, all the presents you had, all the candy, everything in your stockings. Welcome to Bumper Radio. I'm Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and we are helping you with your vehicle every Saturday from 11 to noon right here on 92.3 KTAR. At Bumper Radio, we're helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. If you've got questions, we've got answers. So we encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also get a hold of us via text at 411-923, 411-923. Questions, comments, feedback. If you guys want to hear a topic on this show that we're not covering and you're like, when are they going to cover this? Please let us know. You can also contact us at bumpertobumperradio.com on the contact link. So today on the Bumper to Bumper Roadmap, fact or fiction about overeating, I think. Open phones, top mistakes auto repair consumers make.
You throwing that to me, Dave?
Yes, I am throwing that to you.
I was just going to ignore you for a little while and see what you did.
There's a lot of them.
Well, we were talking about this before the show, obviously, getting ready, and it really goes, I mean, we had the top 5, and then it was 10, and all of a sudden there's 15 things on the list, and it starts to expand. And these are I guess the common things that we see in our shops every day, characteristics or things that people do, whatever their reason for doing them. Sometimes we don't know. Maybe they're conscious decisions and unconscious decisions.
Sometimes we do things because that's just the way we were shown to do it. That's the way my parents always did. I just do it that way.
Or you just don't know any better, so we just do something because you've got to do something. Well, on the top, I know when we made our list, though, the top thing that came up, the first thing that I wrote down was shop hopping, being a mistake that people make.
You're what I call an orphan auto repair customer, and it's more expensive to be a shop hopper than someone who has a relationship that is long. You know, it's same people every year. You got to find a mechanic you know and trust and get a relationship with him and just go see him. But when you get a la carte repairs at a bunch of different shops, you end up either getting too many repairs because sometimes the same repair gets done twice because this guy happened to call it this service, this guy called it this service, but they're really the same thing. And
right.
So you're getting the same thing done twice, but neither of them, it's not a holistic approach to your car. So you can spend extra money that you need to spend, or, this guy sells you the things he likes to sell. This guy sells you the things he likes to sell. So everyone kind of maybe cherry picks the work they want off your car, but they leave out the things they don't want to talk to you about, the things that are hard to sell or not very sexy for them to sell.
Well,
so you don't get them.
Or the difficult work maybe. I wasn't thinking this till you started talking about someone's, they sell what they like to do or what they're capable of doing. If you're not going to a shop that runs the gamut of being able to do everything on your car, and when I say everything, I mean not everybody does windows and glass and body work and mechanical work, but at my shop, we're a one-stop shop. If we can't do it, we'll get you to the right person that will. But
I got a great example then. That's the transmission. Some people don't like dealing with transmissions. They just ignore that part of your car. Just don't even touch it. Don't talk about it, but we'll certainly take care of your bad alternator, your leaking CV boot, or what your differential needing service. But they'll sell the sexy items, but they're not sexy if they don't know how to do anything with them.
I don't know that there's much that's sexy about auto repair.
Oh, yes, there is. When you're in auto repair, everything's sexy.
Okay. I like how you roll your eyes when you say that. But okay, so shop hopping. So we want to find a home. We want to stay there. The good, the bad. Just let that one person take care of the car and develop that relationship.
And when you have the relationship, he can also tell you when there's something you should be worried about and something he doesn't necessarily want to handle. He'd say, you do need some transmission work. You want to go over to Tri-City Transmission, for instance. This is what they do, but come back to me for everything else. He may send you out for certain things, but you go see your dentist. You need a root canal. He doesn't do that root canal. He sends you out to the guy he knows. but have the relationship.
They're managing all that experience as well, so they're thinking about it so you don't have to.
Well, one of the things I find is interesting at your shop is when you got a car in, you guys are checking to see if there's any recalls on the car. So you guys see, there's an open recall on this car. You guys will actually take it to the dealership so your customer doesn't have to deal with that.
We don't do warranty work, that recall work, but we will handle it for you. We'll be the administrator.
They got a different list of sexy items they want to sell your customers, so you just save them from all that hassle.
So what's your number two? Your number two, Dave, I guess, is which one on the list?
I'm just not a phone call pricing kind of guy. Phone pricing, sometimes phone pricing does work out. I have seen it work out.
So when you call, I guess there's a couple occasions. The most popular one that I hear is, well, I don't know that it is the most popular. I guess there's three popular ones, and you can tell these people are already in a shop and they're calling around to get a price, more for a confirmation, just to get the reassurance that what they're being told is accurate. I guess the second one is the people that have a price and they're calling around because they're shopping for a better price, or you have I don't have any idea what's wrong with my car. There's a coolant leak, and my dad's car needed a water pump once, and I called him, and he said, so I'm just calling to get a price on a water pump. And the problems I guess the latter is the worst case. You have a problem, you think you have a transmission problem, you think you have this, and you go in and you're telling them what you want a price on, not asking them to give you a price for what's wrong with the car.
I got a classic example. This happened, this is literally 2 weeks ago. Guy calls me up, hey, my daughter's got a 2001 Honda Civic, and I need a new transmission for it. How much? Oh, and Honda Civic, they don't never need transmissions. They're a 4-cylinder, 1.7-liter transmission, never wears out. No, really, so what's going on? Okay, I think it needs a torque converter. How much for a torque converter? I'm not going to give you a price on a torque converter because you don't know what it needs because they never use torque converters. Just not something you need. He goes, my other guy, he's a Honda guy. He said it needs a torque converter. How much for a torque converter? And I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I recognize this guy's voice.
It's one of those deals like when someone's giving you a crank call, you just keep talking to them until you know who they are. Okay.
Finally, I go, Todd, is that you? He goes, how do you know this is Todd? Because you were my customer 10 years ago when I was selling industrial cooling equipment. And he goes, yeah. I go, yeah, Dave from United Metal Products. He goes, oh, yeah, man, it's been a long time. I said, bring that stinking car down here. Let's go take it for a drive because you don't need a torque converter. So he brings it down. We take it for a drive. And I said, it feels like it would be a torque converter, but I am certain this is not a torque converter. So why don't you leave it with me? I'll get it figured out. Well, guess what it was? It was an idle air control motor, $300. I would venture to say a torque converter could have been $1,200, maybe $1,500. Well, transmission could have been $2,500. So not only was and if I would have just given him a price, he would have just come in and bought a torque converter. He would have had that new torque converter and would have done the same thing. No,
Dave, I always say it actually gets worse, which kind of parlays us into another one of our mistakes. Is he? Let's just say he doesn't get lucky enough to call you, and so he's just on this quest to find the lowest price because that's all he knows.
Right.
Okay? So, Acme transmission, it's this much, and first it started off maybe at $1,500, and now he got the deal, man. I called 47 places today and spent 2 hours doing it, and I got one for $900. I'm going to save myself whatever the math was. I don't know, $400.
Right.
So now he ends up, hey, man, this was the best price. I need that torque. I called you. Remember me? Oh, you bet. Yeah, torque converter? No problem.
Get it done for you.
It's done. But it's still doing the same thing. Well, you wanted the torque converter. Or they get the whole thing. You don't need a torque converter. You need transmission. But today and today only. And then they go quietly fix the $300.
Yep, take care of the idle air control motor. Say, we should probably take care of that idle air control motor. The torque converter was 9. This thing's going to be 5.
Yeah, piece of cake. But the other reason I think that he thought he needed a transmission, there are some Hondas that need transmission.
Lots of them.
And this goes into Dave's coined the phrase Google Gnostics, or I say diagnosis by Google. So he has this problem. He starts Googling. All Hondas need transmissions.
All Hondas, all Toyotas, all Chevrolets. Just Google any of them. All you're going to find is problems. Oh, that sounds like what I got. And this is the thing about Google Gnostics or WebMD is that, I could call the doctor and say my chest hurts. How much for a new heart? I don't know. Maybe you got indigestion. you know. Well, I read here on WebMD that the pain goes shooting down your arm, you know, or this or that or the other. You know, you can read stuff that may seem like it relates. In this case, his symptoms did relate to a torque converter situation on a V6 Honda.
Well,
Not
yeah,
a
that was
Honda.
my point. There's a lot of Odysseys. A lot of the Odysseys a lot of the early Acura Legends, they had problems, but pretty soon you start Googling this stuff and you're getting all this information.
All bad information.
It's good. It might have been good information in 2001 on this certain model, but it starts expanding out to all the models and so you end up where you don't need to be.
Well, when we come back, we've got Melanie and a lot of open lines at 602-277-5827. You can also text us at 411-923. We want to talk about anything you want to talk about in relation to your car. You're listening to Bumper to Bumper Radio.
There have been so many changes in Phoenix over the past couple of decades, but one thing has not changed in all that time. Kurtz. Family owned and operated, Kurtz Auto Repair has been reliably servicing and repairing vehicles for Valley car owners for over 24 years. Just one block east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue in Bell, Kurtz has done it all with a perfect Better Business Bureau record. For service, call 602-588-2878 or check them out online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurtz.
It's really coming down now, and that little voice is saying shoulda, coulda, woulda. You meant to call Keiko Roofing last storm, but you didn't, did you? Now it's raining cats and dogs, and Mr. Shoulda, coulda, woulda is watching a puddle form on the ceiling. If the roof on your home or business is over 10 years old, get rid of shoulda, coulda, woulda. Call Keiko Roofing at 602-944-4600 for a free checkup today. At Keiko, we install peace of mind with the finest materials and the most skilled workers, all backed by the owner's pride guarantee. Flat, foam, tile, or shingle, Keiko handles them all. From a small leak to a complete new roof, Keiko has you covered. Since 1994, Keiko has repaired or replaced tens of thousands of Valley roofs. Over 50% of our business coming from referrals or repeat customers. In fact, over 98% of our customers say they would refer us to a friend. For more information and financing options, go to KeikoRoofing.com. Keiko Roofing. We're crazy about quality.
Hi, Jerry Colangelo here with 3 reasons to tee up a legendary golf outing. The Gold, the Patriot, and the Heritage. 3 championship courses all located at the Wigwam Resort. And why wouldn't you want to play somewhere Golf Week named as one of 2012's best courses? And it's home to world-class golf instruction by the Plain Truth, founded by renowned top 10 instructor Jim Hardy. Tee up a round or a lesson today. Visit wigwamgolf.com. That's wigwamgolf.com.
My pappy said, son, you're going to drive me to drinking if you don't stop driving that hot rod Lincoln.
Bumper to Bumper on News Talk 92.3 KTAR.
Welcome back to Bumper Radio. I'm Matt Allen, and this guy doing the chicken dance across the studio from me is Dave Riccio, and we are Bumper to Bumper Radio every single Saturday at 11, helping you with your car. And we've got a couple of phone calls, Melanie and Karen waiting, and we were talking in the first segment about the top. What do we got, Dave? The top mistakes consumers make when getting their car serviced or fixed or dealing with their car. And we worked our way through the first, well, in no particular order, shop hopping, which is just jumping around and willy-nilly here or there.
Google Gnostics, or WebMD, I would call it.
WebMD for your car, and phone price shopping, and why some of these things can create hassles in your life, and we'll work our way through the rest of this.
Is it hassles, extra money, anxiety? I mean, what is a mistake? I think it's all those.
It's in this case, it's all of them that you can unnecessarily create for yourself. This auto repair deal can be very easy for you as a consumer. We'll make it easy.
Right. Well, it's the unrealistic expectations, but we better get to the phones.
Yes. So Melanie from Phoenix has a 2000 Ford Explorer XLT. Melanie, what can we help you with?
Hello, good morning.
Good
Thanks
morning.
for taking my call. I've got 2 questions, and please forgive me if I don't use the right word for the item.
Whatever you say is right.
When I'm putting my car in gear, at the end of that handle, there's a button, and I think it has to do with the overdrive.
Yeah, okay. It
okay,
does.
So when I'm going down the road 65, 70 miles an hour, sometimes it comes on automatically and I can't get it off. Should I be concerned about that?
Yes. What that button does, that's the overdrive cancel button. So that's probably a 5-speed automatic transmission in your 2000 Ford Explorer, and 5th gear is overdrive. So if you just, let's say you're towing something and you don't want to be in 5th gear, well, you just click that button, and instead of being in 5th gear on the highway, you're in 4th gear on the highway.
But Dave, that'll turn on the little light on the dash that says OD off.
Yeah, overdrive off. Now, when your engine has a problem, the little yellow light that looks like an engine comes on, the check engine light. When your transmission has a problem on a Ford, the overdrive light comes on. So it's the check engine light for the transmission, but this one, but it's not for the engine. So it's the problem with your transmission. And if you're seeing it on the freeway and everything feels pretty normal when you're driving it, Ford Explorers, that light coming on the freeway, the transmission could be running too hot. Sometimes is the problem. And sometimes it's reminiscent of a torque converter clutch slipping code when you're getting it out on the freeway after a long drive. But oftentimes when you go and you turn the car off, get back in the car, next time you drive it, that light is no longer on. So,
correct.
So it is the cancel light, but it is also the check engine light for the transmission.
But now, she has another question, but I want to ask you a question, Dave. Can that light, that button can get worn out in I've seen some of those with the shifter that's all sloppy, and you can also maybe get a short that's just like someone sitting there playing with that switch too. Is that less common?
Yeah, those buttons do go bad, and then the wire does go bad. It's inside that handle is a long wire, and it crimps right where it goes into the steering column because it's moving up and down and up and down and up and down. 2000, that thing's been moving for 13 years. Now it starts to get a break in it. So that's not, I don't believe that's what she's describing, but that is a common problem where people have a button or a light does not come on. So what's your second question?
Second question, well, just about the first question, I do notice that happens a lot more in the summertime when I am going up and down the Mogollon Rim and coming back down into the desert. So I wonder if it does have something to do with the transmission of heating. Okay, so second question, when I'm going about 72 to 74 miles an hour, all of a sudden I've started to get a vibration or shake in the front end. Is that tires or is that something else, do you think?
Well, the first thing I would start with with any vibration would be tires. Okay. You always want to make sure the tires are rotated or at least balanced. So if that came into my shop, we would want to go drive it and verify and duplicate the concern. If you think it's from the front, we would, of course, balance all 4 tires, then go drive the car again, see if we're able to make any change. And if the tires didn't change it, then we're going to start looking at things like the drive shaft, U-joint. If it's 4-wheel drive, potentially something in the front drive shaft or axle shafts. But
her question was really good and her information was good. And that was on our list was, people don't ask questions when they go in for auto repair. They just... it's uncomfortable to ask questions. They don't really know what they're talking about, so they're afraid to say something wrong. You absolutely have full permission to say something wrong. If you want to come in and say, I think I got a gonculator pump problem, no such thing, but that's fine with us. Well, let's talk about your gonculator pump problem. When does it happen? Well, it happens at 72 to 74 miles an hour. Typically with tire vibrations, it's going to be, at high speed. It's going to be kind of a small window. It's there at 72 and 74, but at 76, totally gone. I mean, is that what you find?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can drive through them typically, but we usually see them in the lower range, in the 45 mile an hour range. But yeah, so we're going to start with tires and a test drive. Balancing the tires, a good test drive. And Melanie, you're in Phoenix. BumperToBumperRadio.com. There's going to be a list of shops there. Dave's Tri-City Transmission. He's in Tempe. If you wanted to have a transmission specialist look at the transmission. But I think that's something that needs to be done, especially since you say it's worse when it's hot outside.
Yeah, and I think you're working the torque converter clutch harder, and when the torque converter doesn't fully engage the clutch, and it's slipping, and it's not a slip that you're going to perceive. It could be a slip of 100 RPM, and that's going to create additional heat in the transmission. And then sometimes, if you there's a transmission temperature sensor inside of there. And it can be reading wrong, it can be reading too high. So maybe the transmission is not even overheating, but maybe you just got a bad transmission temperature sensor.
It very well could be nothing. And we were talking about the top mistakes. Dave, you said you started to go into them about having good information. And so two of these kind of go back together. We're back to our list of mistakes. And one of them was not asking questions, and the other one was holding back information at the write-up counter. So you as the consumer come in, and Melanie was great. She knew exactly when it does it, had great descriptions, even though she thought she wasn't saying it right. It doesn't matter because we know what you're talking about. That was absolutely perfect. But what we're talking about here is maybe you've had your car into another place to try to get this problem solved, and they've done it, or they've given you maybe an answer that you didn't like. We typically need to know that. The more information that you can provide to us as the service advisor when we're helping you, it's going to make the job go much easier, likely less expensive.
I was literally just on the phone the other day, and I was talking to this lady about her transmission issue, and she's like, I don't know if this has anything to do with anything, but I thought I would tell you anyway. You know, I just had this repaired done in another shop. And I'm like, that's exactly the information I needed. Had you not told me that, it would have taken me twice as long to figure things out. You know, we'd had more phone calls, more issues. So you know what? You're more than welcome to spew information when you're taking your car. And this happened and that happened. Just tell them slow enough so you don't overwhelm them and they can write it down so it doesn't get lost. So when we come back, we've got open lines at 602-277-5827. If you're out at the parade, you can also text us at 411-923.
Hi, this is Greg LaFonsi of Automotive Diagnostic Specialties. Long name, right? But we have a short, simple goal. Customer satisfaction is our number one priority, and everything else takes care of itself. Bumper to Bumper Radio approved. ADS is a family-owned and operated state-of-the-art repair facility that has an expert staff that for the second straight year has earned the coveted AAA Top Shop Award as one of the best shops in the nation. Just east of I-10 on Chandler Boulevard. Find us at automotiveddiagnosticspecialties.com.
Hi, Jerry Colangelo here. Want to play some historic golf? Swing by the Arizona Biltmore Golf Club, located right next to the Arizona Biltmore Resort. Built in the late 1920s, the Biltmore Golf Club is second to none for prestige, proximity, and privileges. In fact, golf legends, celebrities, and presidents have enjoyed its Adobe and links courses, offering 36 holes of challenging play. Book a tee time today at azbiltmoregc.com. That's azbiltmoregc.com.
After 14 years in the States, mostly spent here in the Valley, I was getting bloody frustrated with the treatment I was receiving from dealerships on the maintenance and repairs of my vehicles. I finally reached out to a friend who told me I was crazy not to try Virginia Auto Service. Being a mom with a busy schedule, children, and work, I took my friend's advice and gave Virginia a try. What a refreshing difference. From the first step through their doors, their staff was accommodating and understanding. Robert explained in plain English what I needed to have done, but also why. They went out of their way to make sure that the experience was convenient, with door-to-door shuttle service by a lovely man named Bergie. Several years and a number of visits later, the experience is always the same. They tell me what is necessary right now and what is not. This is Victoria, and I don't know much about cars, but I do know that from boot to bonnet, Virginia Auto Service knows how to take care of their customers. Check them out online at virginiaautoservice.com.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
There have been so many changes in Phoenix over the past couple of decades, but one thing has not changed in all that time. Kurtz. Family owned and operated, Kurtz Auto Repair has been reliably servicing and repairing vehicles for Valley car owners for over 24 years. Just one block east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue in Bell, Kurtz has done it all with a perfect Better Business Bureau record. For service, call 602-588-2878 or check them out online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurtz.
Ouch! Being out of tune is no fun, and maybe even a little painful. Hi, this is Lee Weatherby.
owner of Accurate Automotive in Mesa. At Accurate, we are a family-owned and operated one-stop automotive repair shop that specializes in building long-term relationships that are in tune with your needs, not ours. We've been recognized nationally as one of the top shops in the country, but for over 20 years, our priority has stayed focused on providing quality automotive service and repair at a fair price. I invite you to come in and see the difference an in-tune relationship can make for you and your car. With our free courtesy inspection, a $49 value, we feel it is well worth our investment in you because we believe good long-term relationships start early with your first walk through our doors. Accurate Automotive, home of friends serving friends, just off Broadway and Robson in Mesa since 1992. For more information, check us out online at AccurateAutomotiveAZ.com today.
Bumper to Bumper on News Talk 92.3 KTAR.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio. He is Matt Allen, and we are trying to help you with your car. We want to remove additional expense out of your car repair, unnecessary expense and anxiety from car repair. People hate car repair. It's like me hating to call my dentist, me hating to call my accountant. It's like tax time. We got to go talk about. I hate it, and I don't want to ask dumb questions when I go down there. Like, what the heck does it mean? Oh, just write it off for next year. I don't know what that means. So that's why I have a professional accountant that takes care of that stuff for me. So we do have Karen up next and open lines at 602-277-5827. Get out of your coma, your food coma from Christmas. Pick up the phone, give us a call, or shoot us a text. So we're going to go ahead with Karen, and we got a couple of texts to answer. Go ahead, Karen. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. My car was running fine, and I took it in for a routine oil change. And about 2 days later, it started stalling on me. Like it stalled on the freeway while I was going 65 miles an hour. It stalls when I idle. If I'm going through like a drive-through and McDonald's drive-through and I'm idling there. And sometimes while I'm driving, it'll buck like it bucks like it's catching back in. And also the oil light is coming on and off during the day, which was not happening before the routine oil change. And most times it won't restart until several attempts. Like it's not getting the gas, it feels like. Right. Sometimes it'll start right back up.
Okay, Karen, so none of it seems like all of this stuff happened shortly right after your oil service, correct? Your maintenance?
2 days after it,
okay.
Yes.
Have you noticed?
Nothing
have you noticed anything dripping in the driveway or fluids underneath the car or anything like that?
I haven't noticed it, but I haven't really looked. I kind of back out and just go. Let me take a look and see. It's right here.
Well, what we're going to want to do, Karen, is take a look underneath the car where you normally park, and you want to see if there's anything in there. And this goes for anybody. You had your car into a shop, and you had maybe something, a simple oil change, or maybe you had a repair. And then a day or two later, you start to have something else happening. You need to look for evidence. This is part of giving the shop good information, whether it's when you have to bring the car back, unfortunately, to us to fix something that we maybe have to have a second shot at, or if you're taking it in for the first time. So we want you to look under the car. Do you see anything on the ground? Do you smell anything? Is there anything out of the ordinary happening? And especially since this happened right after, I'm not going to say that this is something caused by the repair shop.
Could be totally coincidental.
Could be 100% coincidental. I mean, we've had cars come in and they don't start when they go to leave. They've got a dead battery or something happens. I mean, totally unrelated. So once you've gathered some of that information, then you need to very nicely go back to the shop and just say, hey, we're having this problem. Here's what I've noticed, and it happened after. It's important to do that because if you let it go for too long, maybe there is a situation that they've created, but you've waited 2 weeks, and now you've run the thing completely out of oil, or you've allowed a problem that may have been minor and easily corrected to turn into this big problem. So got to go back to the shop, got to be nice, and just ask them to take a look at it.
And don't just assume it's related.
Yeah, it may or it may not be. And then if they tell you something and you need this, or maybe they'll say, sorry, we messed it up. We took care of it. Sorry about that. Here's a coupon for the next service. Who knows, whatever they do. Or they may come back and say, well, that's odd, but here's what happened. If you don't like the answer you get, maybe a second opinion, but work with that shop. Keep that relationship going. They're important.
602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. Thanks so much for the call, Karen. I'm going to go to a text. And I think this is one, Matt, you were mentioning might be good for Google Gnostics, because that's what I did in the break. I looked at the text. The guy's got a 2001 Ford Crown Victoria. He turns the windshield wipers off, and they park right at the top, straight up and down. That would be annoying, you know. But, you know, I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, you got a multi-function switch that operates those wiper blades. He mentioned the transmission in the wiper motor, not the transmission for your car. You know, some things he's already probably done some research about it, but you're going to find what's common. And when I went to what we call Identifix, which is a subscription that we have as auto shops, that we can look for confirmed fixes where someone said, hey, I had this problem, this is what it was. And if you see 20 of the same answers for the same problem, is a very high likelihood. And I didn't see anything in there specifically for his problem.
Well, and the difference, that's a professional website. That's for industry people. I guess that's like the Journal of so-and-so for the pediatricians or medical books. And we're going to go in and we can see everything with that exact same model and make, and these are answers by professionals for professionals to help, and that's one of the things that we can do sometimes to shortcut a diagnostic procedure.
Well, yeah, certain, you know, and really auto shops charge by the minute. I mean, they charge by the hour or diagnostic time. So you want them to use some tools. I mean, why go reinvent the book if I can see 50 other people had this same problem and this is what it is? Well, I'm not just going to replace it. I'm going to go test that particular component that they think caused the problem.
So when you do know exactly what the problem is, or I guess we don't know what the problem is exactly with those wipers, but a small subset or a small section of components. You're not talking about some, you know, the car's not running right, or I think I might have a transmission problem. My wipers don't work. That's pretty narrow. And again, or you have a window regulator problem and you want to try and tackle it at home, that's a time where a YouTube video or Google may be just fine. You may get enough to help you where you won't get in trouble.
Well, we got another text, and then we'll get back to some phone calls during the break. A guy is looking for a good shop in Ahwatukee. And if you go to bumpertobumperradio.com, Ahwatukee is kind of one of those places where there's not a bunch of independent repair shops, but just over the other side of the I-10 is Automotive Diagnostics Service, ADS, and fantastic shop. There's not much they can't do over there. Every time I go to that guy's shop, I have tool envy because there is nothing he doesn't buy that's going to make him a better auto repair shop. I mean, he really goes all out. He's got fantastic technicians that have been with him for a long time. So if you're in the Ahwatukee area and you're looking for a shop that you want to get a relationship started with so you don't have to shop hop anymore, Automotive Diagnostics. We are going to go with Tony in Gilbert on a 1994 Pontiac Trans Am. Go ahead, Tony. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Yes, how you doing? Let's see. I have a 94 Trans Am. I've had it since it was new. It has under 100,000 miles on it. And all of a sudden, the car won't turn over. It has plenty of power. There's nothing wrong with the battery, but it will not turn over to start.
Now, hold on a second. When you say it won't turn over to start, you also said it has plenty of, I think, juice or the battery was good. This is where we get terms mixed up sometimes. It won't turn over to start. So when you turn the key, does it do nothing, or is it like it's out of gas? It's cranking and cranking and cranking. It's just not starting.
No, it's not. It's not cranking. All the dash lights come on. Every single, engine light, whatever light, they all come on. But it has power, but it's not cranking at all.
Okay, so it's not turning over.
I'd be banging on the starter.
Well, yeah, that's the quick
parking
test.
lot type test.
Yeah. So what Dave's talking about, Tony, is you want to jack the car up. Always when you lift the car, make sure you've got a jack stand or something under the car to keep it from falling on you if there's a problem. And you're going to have somebody hold the key in the start position, and you're just going to take a small hammer and just give the starter a couple whacks if that's something that you feel comfortable doing, getting out of the car. If it starts when they're holding the key and you whack it with the starter,
there's a problem.
Starter. I mean, that's a tow truck I guess it's a tow truck trick. That's when I think I learned it years ago driving in a tow truck. When they send you out there roadside service, whether you get the car started or tow it 10 miles, it usually paid the same. So
when a GM, you're banging on the starter, and a Ford, you're banging on the solenoid on the fender, depending on the year of the car
Right.
and what the setup was. But, it's a good way to check it out. I mean, you're in Gilbert. If you don't have a shop and you don't feel like jacking up a car and getting underneath it, as most people don't, we've got great shops in Gilbert. I'm thinking of Desert Car Care, and you can find them at bumpertobumperradio.com. You can also email us questions on the contact link. So we sure appreciate the phone call, 602-277-5827. Looks like we're going to go with Tyler in Phoenix on a 2006 Dodge Charger. Go ahead, Tyler. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for taking my call.
You bet.
I have a Dodge Charger that's showing a check engine light. When I check the code, it's not throwing a code. I clear the light, and about 2 days later, I get the same thing. Another check engine light comes on with no code.
Okay. How are you checking the code or attempting to check the code?
I've got a CAN2 OBD2 checker.
Okay.
Well, my first thought, Dave, is that we don't have a scan tool that is good enough. Basically, it's not able to read all the modules in this car to get the information out. That's the first thing I'm thinking. It's a scan tool issue.
And for everybody listening, I see these advertisements and infomercials on TV. They show this little checker, and I think your iPhone can even check the codes in your car anymore. But you plug into the connector, the ALDL, is that what it's called? I don't
Short
know.
for Assembly Line Diagnostic Link.
Right, so you're going to plug into that, and they're looking for anytime that yellow check engine light comes on means that the computer has marked an event or an error or something is not right. That could be an error with the transmission, which would be in the transmission control module. That could be an error with the engine, which would be in the engine module. That could be an ABS error or speed sensor error that could be in different modules. And some of these code checkers, they just give you a basic, they're going to check the basic main brain, but they won't look any deeper. So you can clear the code, and the checker may do that, but it didn't really tell you the information you wanted to know. So there is a huge difference. I've never seen a check engine light where there wasn't a code behind it. Have you?
No, there's got to be something there. It's just it's a tool issue for sure.
It's time for Fact or Fiction.
I hate that thing, Dave.
I love to play it because you hate it. So, Matt and I had a little argument about this one before the show, and we seem like we get along. We really don't.
I can't stand you.
No, we do get along. I don't want to lie. But the fact or fiction, overfilling at the pump or topping off, as they call it, is bad for your car. Fact or fiction?
You botch these things every time.
I do. Because I don't know how to put them in like this, like third person, first person.
It doesn't,
it
doesn't say don't overfill. How are you supposed to know when it's overfilled?
That's stupid. The handle turns off.
Okay. It's topping off. So I've forgotten now we've got this thing so screwed up. But that is a fact, Dave.
It's a fact.
It's a fact. You don't want it. There's no need to be topping off at the gas station. So you put the thing in, go full blast, boom, it shuts off. You're just done. Just be done. I used to always top it off. I mean, that way I've got to push my car only 900 yards instead of 1,000 when it breaks down or whatever the case is. But they say it's for emissions, and that's all fine and dandy. We don't want to have pollution and have the hydrocarbons escaping. But the reason that I'm saying not to do it, because there are components in the fuel system on the vapor side that can be damaged.
When I was a kid, I thought if you went ahead and shut the pump off and then left the handle open and just kind of hit the hose, you could actually get an extra quarter tank or a quarter of a gallon, something like that. Does that work? Fact or fiction?
I think you get a little bit, maybe enough to start a fire.
But, a couple drips.
Yeah. Not much at all. So
602-277-5827. It is bad for your car. It's kind of like overeating. I definitely overate last night. I had hot wings. I had a rack of ribs. They brought out this warm cookie thing with ice cream on top, and I was just, that stuff was just crawling up in my throat. In topping off your car gets fuel where fuel doesn't belong, and that's into your, there's electronic solenoids and evaporative system components. You don't want to mess. So when we come back, we're taking your calls and your texts at 411-923. You're listening to Bumper Radio.
It's really coming down now, and that little voice is saying shoulda, coulda, woulda. You meant to call Kaiko Roofing last storm, but you didn't, did you? Now it's raining cats and dogs, and Mr. Shoulda, coulda, woulda is watching a puddle form on the ceiling. If the roof on your home or business is over 10 years old, get rid of shoulda, coulda, woulda. Call Kaiko Roofing at 602-944-4600 for a free checkup today. At Kaiko, we install peace of mind with the finest materials and the most skilled workers, all backed by the owner's pride guarantee. Flat, foam, tile, or shingle, Kaiko handles them all. From a small leak to a complete new roof, Kaiko has you covered. Since 1994, Kaiko has repaired or replaced tens of thousands of valley roofs. Over 50% of our business coming from referrals or repeat customers. In fact, over 98% of our customers say they would refer us to a friend. For more information and financing options, go to KaikoRoofing.com. Kaiko Roofing. We're crazy about quality.
News Talk 92.3 KTAR.
Do you love your hybrid? Yep, we did too. Hi, my name is Brian. We bought our Prius to help with my wife's long commute back and forth to work. We love the get up and go and the fuel economy. But 8 years later, our MPG was eroding and the zip was gone. We tried everything from tune-ups to new tires. The dealership's answer was, that's just the way it goes with hybrids, and that we were probably looking at a new battery at the cost of $4,000 to $6,000. Sound familiar? We were lost. Then we found the hybrid shop at Goodworks Auto Repair. They were able to condition our battery to like new for a fraction of the cost. The Zip and the 40-plus MPG is back. We're in love again with our Prius and the hybrid shop at Goodworks Auto Repair.
Thanks for the kind words, Brian. Hi, Glenn Hayward for the hybrid shop at Goodworks Auto Repair. Fall in love again with your hybrid. For details, go to goodworksautorepair.com.
This is Bumper to Bumper, News Talk 92.3 KTAR.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and we are helping you with your car. Any questions you have, you can always get a hold of the show at 602-277-5827. We're topped up on phone calls today, but you can also reach us at bumpertobumperradio.com. There's a contact link. Those emails come to either Matt or myself. And we're not always as speedy as we like to be at getting back, but usually by Tuesday or Wednesday we got you an answer. So,
well, another thing about the email, and it's not just a place to come ask us questions whenever you want to, but we really like to know and get feedback. It's nice to get a note that says, hey, I called in and you pointed me to a shop and they took great care of me. Or you told me to try this and it worked and you saved me a handful of money. Or whatever happens, we really appreciate that follow-up at times. And again, if you missed the opening of the show, we're always this show is for you, the people that are listening. If there's something that you want us to talk about or you want information about, send us an email, and Dave and I will research it, and we'll make the show about that topic. There's
If it's critiquing and it's anything hard to hear, don't send it to Matt. He can't take it. I can take it. Go ahead and say, hey, you know what, I really like when you guys do this, and not that. So any ideas you got. We're going to go with Jerry in Chandler on a 1998 Ford Ranger. Go ahead, Jerry. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Thanks, guys. I got this little truck a few months ago, and it's just a really basic little, I call it a beater truck, 200,000 miles. It's a 4-cylinder, 5-speed, and it runs really, really good. I really like this little truck. But on the dash, it's got the icon showing, it blinks, showing that the airbag is not proper. Well, it's got that thing is blinking, and I'm assuming that that's telling me that the airbag is not working. I've checked underneath the hood. I can't see any damage that's ever been done to this truck. The steering wheel looks like it's the original steering wheel. The airbag thing is totally in place. The cruise control buttons are all corroded. They work, but they're corroded. So I think it's this stock steering wheel. Is there anything that can be done? Is there anything you can check on that to find out what the problem with the airbag is? Because I would love to have an airbag.
Yes. Well, you know, that system is a lot like a check engine light. It's constantly doing self-tests, and there is a control module for the airbag system. And it's going out and it's testing igniters. It's testing the resistance of multiple airbags. Maybe there's only one in that vehicle. I'm not sure off the top of my head. And if it sees a problem or something it doesn't like, it's going to turn on the light, and then that's going to set a code. We can go in with a scan tool. Now, your little $99 reader, that's going to get engine codes. You've got to go have a shop that has the right scan tool, and to be able to go in and read the SRS, secondary restraint system, computers, and find out what the code is. Off the top of my head, that one might have a driver's side airbag, but if I had to just put a wild guess out, that I'd probably put a little bit of money behind. There's a part called a clock spring, and it has nothing to do with a clock or a spring really. It's a spool of wire tape is what it is, and that's wound up inside the steering wheel, if you will. So when you turn the wheel, you can still maintain that good electrical connection. It's like a paper clip. You bend it so many times, it's eventually going to break.
200,000 miles. You said original steering wheel, a little bit of corrosion, stuff like that going on.
Yeah.
I'd be putting my money on that on a WAG, what I call a wild guess.
That's a repair you may or may not be able to do at home. You may not want to mess around with it. You've got to be careful with those airbags. Again, Chandler, we were just talking about ADS, Automotive Diagnostic Specialties.
Fantastic shop.
Good shop. You'll find them at Bumper to Bumper Radio. Might be a good place to start.
All right, we're going to go with Bonnie, and then we've got James and Mike, and if we don't get to you, we're going to get to you after the show. Go ahead, Bonnie. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi, good morning. I have a 1999 Lexus RX 300, and I've got a couple of problems that surfaced about the same time. They're minor, but just bothersome. We've got the dome light that's on the roof in the midsection of the car behind the sunroof. It turns on manually in both directions, forward, and then off in the middle, and then backwards, and it's on again, solid. But it won't work. It won't auto-dim with the doors. Like when the door, it's supposed to auto-dim on one of those settings when you shut the door after so many seconds. That doesn't work anymore. And then it doesn't turn on. Well, we leave it in the off position now because it doesn't work. The second problem is, and my husband's wondering if they're interrelated somehow. The second problem is I have a key that opens the door, and it's the older type key where it's got the actual alarm buttons on the key itself.
Mm-hmm.
And it will work for a couple of days if I put it in the lock and, turn it left twice and then hit the alarm. It'll beep and shut the lights off. It'll work fine a couple of days, like I said, and then it'll just quit again. And we've changed the batteries, of course. And on the dome light thing, we've changed light bulbs, and nothing seems to solve it. And I've sat in here and tried to reprogram it with some directions that I found on the internet.
Right.
And reprogram it.
I think there may be something going on with the body control module. And that's not going to be something that you've tried all the kind of the basic things, reprogramming it. The body control module, that works with the alarm system. So when you hit the alarm and you lock it, that's what's going to actually dim out the lights. So they could all be related. It's just a module, and again, we were talking about different scanners and getting into different modules. But that module may be starting to have an issue. It may not be going to sleep. It may not be waking up. I'm thinking issues like that. You're in Phoenix, so one of the nice things is you're right down the street from a great auto repair shop, Virginia Auto Service. Matt won't say it, but I'll say it for him. But there's going to need to be some diagnostic work going for a weird alarm issue like that in a dome not fading out. That's what I'm thinking. Thoughts?
It could be something silly, a bad battery connection. I mean, wishful thinking maybe, but you just get weird things. And now I can tell you one thing too, or a lot of things I can tell you, but when it comes time to get that fixed and you decide to shop to take it to, whenever you have a key problem or a remote control problem or some kind of an issue, we really need to get in the habit of bringing all of our keys for the car.
Keys.
We have that a lot, Dave. We're in the shop and we're doing something. Some procedure requires a reprogramming. Maybe there's nothing wrong and the customer didn't have any problem. We're going and we're chasing down second sets of keys because you just have to have all the parts.
For sure. We've got a text here that I didn't get to answer. A guy's got a Lexus, 130,000 miles, wondering if he should service it. Go ahead and send us an email at bumpertobumperradio.com. I've got an extensive answer for you. Go ahead and send an email up there. And any of your questions, you guys can all get a hold of us there. While you're there, be sure to like us on Facebook. Sometimes my talk and my brain, they don't go together. Peter, thanks for running the dials. From all the shops at Bumper to Bumper Radio, we wish you a safe and happy holiday this week. Stay out of trouble. Remember never to text and drive. And next year, automotive car resolutions for the new year.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
After 14 years in the States, mostly spent here in the Valley, I was getting bloody frustrated with the treatment I was receiving from dealerships on the maintenance and repairs of my vehicles. I finally reached out to a friend who told me I was crazy not to try Virginia Auto Service. Being a mom with a busy schedule, children, and work, I took my friend's advice and gave Virginia a try. What a refreshing difference. From the first step through their doors, their staff was accommodating and understanding. Robert explained in plain English what I needed to have done, but also why. They went out of their way to make sure that the experience was convenient, with door-to-door shuttle service by a lovely man named Bergie. Several years and a number of visits later, the experience is always the same. They tell me what is necessary right now and what is not. This is Victoria, and I don't know much about cars, but I do know that from boot to bonnet, Virginia Auto Service knows how to take care of their customers. Check them out online at virginiaautoservice.com.
Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Dave.
We're the car guys from the Bumper to Bumper radio show, heard right here on News Talk 92.3 KTAR every Saturday from 11 to noon.
Bumper to Bumper Radio, it's just like your favorite warm and comfy blanket for all your automotive needs.
Yeah, I guess you're right, Dave. And we're here not just on Saturdays, but 24/7 at bumpertobumperradio.com for all the very best repair and service shops in Phoenix.
Yep, right advice, products, and partners are all at